Yo Instagram, PLC test rig time, right? I've bitten off more than I can chew. Which was the idea? The idea was that I bit off more than I could chew, so you didn't have to. Now, I need some help from maybe the ESK chat, or not just PLCs, shut up power supply, because we're in a bit of a pickle here, because I've got my cheap-ass PLC that will work with a decent piece of software that will give you a realistic idea of how PLC work. Then I bought my cheap-ass HMI and my cheap-ass input-output card, and I'm just trying to start a video by making those three work together, shut up power supply. But the problem is, I can fucking not get this, the RS232 on this screen, which I'll put the details up for, to speak to my Wavshire RS232 converter. I've tried straight through cables, null cables, I belt the cables out, I've made the exact cable that's required in the thing, but for some reason I can't get comms up. Yeah, I've even made my own comms code with the pinouts. The internet is full of people having the same problem, but because people are dicks, no one's answered, and no one who has then found a solution has put the solution up, so I'm a bit of a pickle. It doesn't seem to be a null cable, doesn't seem to be a straight through cable. I think this null cable I've got's not got one of the pins connected, because it has a ready to send pin in it. So I don't know if that's connected out. I don't think it is, basically. So yeah, if anyone's got any ideas, let me know. This breakout board one should do it, unless I connect every pin on the breakout board to every other pin and cross them over. I am lost in a world of fucking cables. I just want this to speak to this to speak to this, but I need to get this to speak to its software. There's the cable pin out, and it's an OPC320 is the screen. There's its pin out. It's a crossover lead with receive, transmit, a ground, and then ready to send on 7, connected to 7 CTS. That seems a bit odd. I've downloaded all sorts of fucking shit. I'm pretty sure that drawing will be right, but I'm like, ready to send goes to think and send. Yeah, anyway, if anyone's got any ideas, let me know. Normally I'd muddle along a little bit more, yeah, and get into it, but I know I'm having a basic communication problem here. Probably because I've got the wrong cable. I bet it's the fucking wrong cable. I bet that's what I'll find out it is. But I'm just asking because I've got this project on, I've got a fucking other project on, I've got another project on, someone's given me a load of stuff for another project, and I want to get this working in its most basic form by Christmas, so people can buy it and enjoy it over Christmas. So I need to get the PLC, the screen, and this into a little test rig, the cheapest I can make it, with the software. By Christmas, so I'm going to shout out for help because I don't have time. I'm fucking snidered and I want to get it done, basically. I want to get the basics done so people can play, not sit here watching me be a dickhead. So yeah, if you can help out, let me know.
Are you thick or something?
3 weeks later.
Time for some actual electrical content. If you've been following this on Instagram, this will follow on. If you watch on YouTube, this will follow through on the video. Because on the YouTube, I've just said, I'm having a fucking absolute with this, basically, and I send the video. I think you're having control problems. I think it's a simping. I think it's a wiring problem, right? But I was doing a stupid thing, which you do when you do this kind of stuff, yeah? I was just wading into it over and over and over again, just trying everything else, like, without recording it, without documenting it, without asking for any advice, without doing any proper research, because I just thought it'd magically work and I'd get the video out of it, yeah? Which is not how it fucking works, right? RS232 is fickle as fuck. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I've tidied up a little bit. Let me show you what's going on behind me, and I'll take from the beginning. The ESK control chat has been very helpful. Ash from Sedgley Controls has been and bought one of these and got it working. Well, isn't he a clever Ash has got his working, so knows it's possible, yeah? A lot of the ESK Controls chat, I watched this video on the last one I did, and I've been offered a lot of advice. Now, I was on holiday when they put the advice up, because I put the video into the chat. The actual YouTube video is made. I put it into the chat for them to peruse first, get first time access in there. And a few of them there's like a section of comments. Now, I've read them briefly, but I'm not going to read them too much because I'm here to make the mistakes that you're making, but I will utilise some of those things that I've learnt to show you what's going on. Right, let me show you what we got here. First of all, we've got my brew and we've got the PLC and the other thing, yeah? They're out the game for now, so we're just going to put them to one side and concentrate on the RS232 communication protocol between this device via this fucking serial adapter to that computer just so the fucking software will work, right? That's all I want to do. All I want to do is write on that screen that I'm a knobhead. Let me show you some of the other things that are going off. Over here, I've got the computer in its last 9 days of Windows 10. It's done a little update, put a stupid screensaver on, and I've downloaded OP20 tool. And in the last video, I realised I got the wrong bit of software, yeah? Now I've got the right bit of software, because when I open that, I've got the OP220 tool, and when I go to help and about, it's version 8, which when it energises screen is what it asks for. Let me show you that. So if I switch the power to this lot, it's going to ask in Alan Chan, it's telling you it's the OP232, it's going to tell you to use the version 8 software, yeah?
Can you not read Chinese? Are you thick or something?
And I've got the version 8 software. Right, so why are we doing this bit, right? Because last time I was just throwing a fucking kitchen sink and everything at it, yeah? What I've done is, I've stepped back, I've asked a few people how to think about it, right? Now, I've powered up my HMI and I've put 24 volts to it, yeah? And I'm pretty sure it's working and the port is functional. If it's not, it's never going to work, but I have to assume that that's fucking functional, yeah? The PC has the right software on it, version 8, that I know someone else has got to work in, and I believe that PC is functional. Which means the problem is between the USB port and the serial port of that. The things between that are the USB cable that goes to the serial adapter, the serial adapter itself, and then the RS232 cable connecting them all. Somewhere in there, in that one cable USB cable, which I doubt, the serial converter, which is a definite possibility now. I've had a chance to think about it. Chance to think about it? Fucking someone told you, like, oh, that's me. Oh, fuck. Yeah, there is definitely a chance that one of those things is wrong. Now, the WAV share. We're going to have to go right back into RS232 here now. Let me get a drawing and show you, because this won't work. This won't ever work in this situation. And I'm going to show you why. And that is one of the big problems over now. I'm not saying that I fixed it, but what I'm telling you is this will not function. Let me show you why. We need to go right back into RS232 shit. Right then, if you're watching on YouTube, these will be on the screen, yeah, as pictures. But here's the pinout of the HMI, right? So basically, it follows. See that twist that's in it, yeah? RS232 is mainly data. In fact, let's go a little bit back, yeah? But what I've got there is you've got receive, twisted, and connected to transmit, because transmit to transmit won't work, receive to receive won't work, yeah? You've got to put receive to transmit and transmit to receive. Then you've got a ground, because you've always got a ground to reference the high and low points of the RS232 communication. And you've got one in there called RTS and CTS. Now, 2 and 3 are your data. Receive and transmit, and you flip them in the cable and send them into the other end. So you send it out one end and send it in the other, and that one sends it out of his end and comes in at the other. That shouldn't be too hard to grasp. You speak, you listen, you speak, you listen. So receive and transmit in RS232 is like my mouth and your ears are my mouth. That's how it works. The other thing it wants is a ground. RS232 always wants a ground, because RS232 is either higher than the ground or lower than the ground, I think. I'm sure someone will come and correct me in a minute, but basically I see it that it's either high, or it's low, or it's at the ground voltage, yeah? That's what I think. If that's wrong, let me know. I think it's either high or low and ground's fault. But anyway, so you've always got a ground. Now, a lot of RS232 communication protocols transmit via ground, TX and RX. Just the 3 wires. Now, this particular device wants this 4th wire, which is called pin 7 on here, and it's RTS and CTS. It says RTS at one end, CTS at the other, but it shows it on pin 7. Seems odd that they both be on pin 7 and mean different things, but anyway, let's have a look at the RS232 standard to see what each pin means. We're getting in the weeds here on a fucking 50-year-old protocol because we've got to. Now, again, if you're watching on YouTube, this will be on the screen now, but this is the one I've got to record it off, to read it off myself, yeah? Because the standard for RS232 DB9 female connector pinout, obviously the male connector pinout's a mirror image of it, yeah? Number 5, sorry, I'll start number 1, is DCD, data carrier detect. 2 is transmit. 3 is receive. 4 is DTR, data terminal ready. We're back in the days of terminals. The terminal was I think the slave, the master was whatever sent it anyway. 5 is ground. 6 is data set ready. CTS on 7 is clear to send, which means I'm ready to take your information. RTS on 8 is request to send. And the ring indicator is number 8. Now, that protocol is fucking as old as time. What you got to remember is RS232 is the communications protocol, yeah, that works here. This is, I'm not sure, we're sowing the weeds here, it's unbelievable, yeah? Is there a fucking standard for RS232? You know, like on Ethernet, you've got every device has a socket, and the lead is double-ended with 8P8C connectors, often referred incorrectly to as RJ45s. They're not RJ45s. That means registered jack at Bell Labs 45. They have a resistor in. The connectors are actually 8P8Cs, right? So you've got a hole, and you have a cable with 2 connectors on called 8P8Cs that connect in. That is the Ethernet standard in simplest form, yeah? With RS232, I'm not sure because this was obsolete-ish when I started sparking, yeah? What are the rules with the ends? Are there any rules with the ends like this one, for example, that this has got the male on it, right? Now, I've got some other adapters here, which might come to play later. That, again, that's got the male on it. And that's got a male on it, so maybe that's standard, yeah? But they've all got screws for putting them in. Now, I think the standard is at each end, you have a male with the screws, the thread in. And what I think has gone off here is, and why I've been having a couple of problems with connectors, these aren't designed for making leads because they have the threads in as well and they don't go together. These are designed for placing in a project box and pretend to be the end. So that's one of the problem. I think the standard is, for R232, someone correct me, is that the devices at each end are males and you have a double-ended female piece of cable. That's what I think. That's what I'm working on, but I don't know. Hence why the RS232 cable I bought has 2 female ends with screws on, right? But for reasons I can't quite fathom, another RS232 lead I've got here has a male and a female end, because I think this was specifically this was supplied with the device to use it, yeah? So I think the standard is you have a double-ended female. Oh, yeah. And that's it. Now, we'll come back to that lead in a minute because that's important. What we're remembering is here, what the point of this conversation was, is that RS232 is the transmission protocol. And that is the full RS232 transmission protocol. However, the majority of the time now, you just use transmit, receive, and ground. However, that device wants ready to send and clear to send. I think it wants ready to send, request to send, and clear to send used up on it. However, this is fucking deep, mate. According to this pamphlet, this thing here, clear to send CTS is on pin 7 and request to send is on pin 8. But on this drawing, it shows 7 to 7. Now, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I know someone's got it to work like that. So I'm guessing that they've taken care of the flipping of that inside this. So they just wanted to connect pins 7 to 7 to make it easier, because they take care of the flip inside that, I think, at this stage. But that's not made it easy, that's made it worse because it doesn't follow the standard, which we think we might have with RS232. But anyway, there's a little rundown of RS232 that I've just done for you and myself, because now I'll get there. Right, anyway, next problem. Right, hope you're still with me. Well, all 2 of you that are going to watch this, right. I've previously I even made a video. I made a video about these WAV shears, yeah? I've got a small one that does RS485 and RS232. In fact, I'll go and get it. That'd be better, wouldn't it? I've got a really useful box full of RS232 shit. And when you go in here, you'll find, and I'll show you the rest of what's in here as well while we're at it, yeah? I've got this WAV shear one. This is an RS485 to USB. This has worked infallibly every time I need to use it, yeah? RS485 is a different protocol, so I'm not going to go into here. It's multi-drop. RS232 is master to slave. RS485 is multi-drop, so it does addressing, yeah? And it works on 2 wires. That's what it's got. That's for connected to a certain type of drive, and it's worked. So I raved about this WAV shear, but what I'd realised was I was raving about this one. It always connects, it always does its own software shit, it always works on USB, and it works. However, because that one was so good, I bought this one. Coming back to that in a minute. This is so disjointed. But anyway, let me show you the rest of what's in my box here. In here, I've got some DB25 breakouts, male and female, so I can break out a DB25s. I have had to do it randomly. And I've also got, I've just found these. These aren't the ones, oh, these are a male and female look. But they haven't got the fucking stupid plugs on. Which is loads better. They don't have the fucking threads on. So I could do probably getting some more of them. That might be better for me. Right, I might use those. Anyway, I've got those. Then I've got the RS45 connector. That's just to get all the shit. And then that's about it in there, really. There's not much more going off. But there's a USB stick. I wonder what's on that. Because that 45 was so good, I went and bought this one. And it has been great. It's connected. The main problem you used to have with these was they didn't want to connect to your computer. That was the main problem. They do the RS45 or 232 shit, but they won't connect to your computer. The reason I rave about these is they just connect to your computer and they just work without any software or drivers or updates. So someone in the SK chat, and I'll credit whoever it was on YouTube by putting their post up here. It was a mishmash between Alistair in the controls chat, who's been very useful on this, and obviously Big Balls Ash, because he knows what they're about, yeah? These are great. If you've got transmit, receive, and ground, still a fantastic bit of kit. The problem is, I need RTS and CTS, although we know now at one end we think it's been flipped internally, but I need RTS and CTS. And Ash very kindly put this picture up in the chat. That is the pinout of the WAV-share device. It uses a DB9 male, which is this connector. RS232 is the protocol. This is a DB9 connector. You can use RS232 down any connector you want, but in the DB9 connector, this one, pin 1 is not used. Pin 2, so starting from this, the DB9, pin 2 is receiving data, pin 3 is sending data, pin 5 is the ground, pins 1, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are not connected. Fucking bollocks! The pin I need, the 7 to 8 or the 8 to 7, which is twist around makes it 7 to 7, yeah? It's not fucking connected in this. This supports transmit, receive and ground. That's it. Because if we go back through the weeds of the fact that it's a standard from fucking 50 years ago, it was originally designed to speak from slave to master. Those devices would have been printers and modems and stuff like that, yeah? So in the good old days, you needed all those pins. Every single pin that was on here would probably have been used. But as it's gone on as a protocol, most things just want send, receive and ground. So they've made that do this. However, it doesn't support RTS. So I could fucking sit here for eternity with the fucking dons of this system. This is upside down. This, on this particular HMI, will never work. That's that ruled out. That only took half an hour to tell you that. Sorry. So I'm just going to place this under the bench. And as you'll have seen earlier in the video, I've got out a couple of my El Clasico ones. These were well popular. This was the last one I raved about that just worked. I don't know, it's the no brand. So just a no brand, but it just works. And this is a no brand that just works. Oh, it's Easy Sync, this one's called. These were really good. And it's also got the pinouts as a terminals lock and the pinouts as a DB9. So we'll probably use that next because we can use the pinouts. So yeah, next thing we'll do is try it with these. But before we do that, we need to talk about cables. Right, I don't know if you're still with me because this is fucking long, but what I've just gone through there, I will never forget. So from now on, I'll always know that WAV one won't do this, yeah? So I've learned a lesson. In fact, I think I've relearned a lesson because I used to use RS232 and still start a lot more than this, and now I don't. So anyway, we're now assuming that we've got this working, a software that's working, and we're going to take a punt on one of these will work because I know these ones have got the RTS, and I know these ones have got that pin in, yeah? These are full flavour, full fat RS232 converters. So yeah, one of them's going to work, I hope, because I know they've got that pin in. That leaves to be analysed on this fucking medium boringly, the cables. Because, let me show you something. Along the same lines as that little fucking story, yeah? This may look like a RS232 cable. Fuck this one, it came with something specific. I'm going to go for this one, right? This one's marked up as a null RS232 twister. That means it should be pin to pin with the 2 and the 3, the transmitters really twisted. You can also get those straight through, right? The problem is, I have no idea that's been wired. In fact, let's bell it out and see what they've done, because that'll be interesting, because not all RS232 cables are cables. For example, if you've got a 5-pin socket, You could wire it 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4, 4 to 5. Or you could mingle it up in any way you fucking see fit. This probably, like the WAV share, covers the vast... This probably does ground, transmit, receive. And I bet nothing else is fucking connected. Let's have a little play. Most boring video ever. I ain't got fucking started yet. Ground to ground. Beeps. What are they? Where's the number? 6 to 6. 6 to 6, which would be... The ring indicator is not there. Sorry, 9 to 9, that, isn't it? So small, these fucking things. So small. I think that's 9 to 9, ring indicator. Not connected, because no one's used it for fucking 20 years. RTS and CTS. RTS, they're connected and twisted. So RTS is connected to CTS, and CTS is connected to RTS, which means this lead won't work. And I'll tell you why. Much like the transmit goes to receive and the transmit goes to receive backwards, the clear to send and request to send flip over as well. And on this particular lead, they've been flipped over. But on the drawing, they don't get flipped over. So that means this lead's out the window, although that could be a good lead. I doubt they've connected. I bet they ain't connected up the real legacy ones, like... I don't know, but anyway, I'm not going to get to an RS232 lead thing here, but I bet they ain't connected up the legacy ones. And also, we now know that our system, our cable between our converter and the HMI requires receive and transmit twisted as per normal, the ground, and the RTS and the CTS, both on pin 7 because the twist is done in that device. That took a long time. But I think we might be getting somewhere. So let's see if we can make it speak to each other without me killing anyone. So let's get that set up, because this is fucking boring. So I'm just going to use this one because it's got the terminals on, right? Which are matched to that. So I wonder if I can bell them through. So let's just check that. Can I bell them through? So is ground to ground connected from here? They are connected, are they? Yeah, ground to ground. TX should be either pin 2 or 3. Yeah, so that's it. So we'll use that. Makes life easier. I could just wire it up then and just don't have to change that way. I've only got to change one end of these if I think I've got a problem. So I'll do that. So I'm just going to wire it into here. And I'm going to do red, black, green and white. Right then. Here's my drawing, look. It doesn't tell me which end's a slave and which end's a... Renegade Master! I'm guessing because it says ready to send, this end must be the PC. Oh, for fuck's sake. That end's the PC and that end must be the HMI, yeah? Because it's going to CTS. So ready to send will be sent by the master, which is this, yeah? So I've put transmit on red, receive on black, grey, ground and grey, and then I want to be RTS on this end. Because obviously the ready to send must come from the master end. That's the way I'm working it. So RTS into there. Now, I'm not going to use my AliExpress breakout boards because they've got this confusing shit going off where they've got 2 different numbers. I'm going to crack out the one I've got in my kit. Let me go and get that. Right, I've got this one. I think I got this one off Amazon a while ago. Yeah, this one is a female and it's got the things labelled up apparently correctly. So it's got all the numbers labelled up. Let me show you that. So it's got all the things labelled up right. DCD ground. So I want to do that. So my transmit on red goes to my receive on red. So this end will be receive, which is 2, receive. Put that in there like that. This has never been used. Let me undo these things. Let me undo the terminals, hang on. So there you go. I've put my transmit to my receive and my receive to my transmit. So they've basically flipped over, yeah? My ground is going to ground, which is on pin 5, as it always is. They're coming back to me now, a lot of this. Starting to remember a lot about RS232. I'm glad I've had a fuck around with this, and it's been a con because I'm now, obviously when I'm teaching you on here, I always refresh myself. Right now, this white one is ready to send. Now, normally you'd put this into clear to receive. No, hang on, what's the fucking right terminology here? The ready to send, request to send, clear to send. Clear to send. Oh, maybe that's the fucking PC end. It doesn't matter, every other terminal's right. The only thing I'm going to get wrong is this one. And this is when it won't work. So I think here I've got, clear to send, request to send. So I ask you if I've not used this wire much. It's called clear to send and request to send. Clear to send and request to send. I reckon request to send is right at this end, I think. So I've got request to send at this end, and I'm going to connect it to pin 7, which is requested up here. If that doesn't work, I'll try swapping the cable at this plug end before putting it back and swapping the cable at the other end and doing it. So I've got that in there, 1, that in there, 2, swap it, 3, 4. So I've got 4 options. I think all the problems will be on this RTS signal. So let's get this over to the computer and let's see if we can do something with it. Let's plug this in. See if it goes to dyke or whatever it does. And I'll go to Device Manager and see if that's recognised. It's powered up, look. COM ports and LTP. It's on COM 4. So the computer's seen that. That's good. We'll leave Device Manager open in case we change it. So now we're in the software for this. I'm just going to plug that into there. Nothing's fucking happened, but it's plugged in. Let me get a little program open on here and we'll see if we can try and send something to it. Fucking worked. It's fucking worked. Wow. Oh my God. It's actually worked. I'm so excited that my clothes have changed. I made a connection. Excellent. I'm so amazed with myself. Woohoo. Yay. Go team. Right. So what was the problem last time was, 1, this did not work. 2, I was using these breakout boards, which have got a really confusing fucking numbering system on. Right, of the both things, and as soon as I convert to my other one, which has got the actual names written on it, it just works straight away, which is fucking great. I'm happy about that. So that is because a load of people in the SK, obviously Ash got his work in and said that and told me that it was 7 to 7. Then when I thought about that 7 to 7, I realised that it's flipped to the other thing, and because a load of people in the SK said this, that, and the other, and I tried all those engineering things, I've got it to work. Probably could have done that on my own if I just...
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
But I won't get anywhere. I was too clever then, because what I've got a problem with now is, I don't know why, but all my text is gobbledygook. So I'll bring you down here and show you what's going off. So I tried to download that level little display and that actual electrical, but when it's got to the computer log, the text is coming out as fucking gobbledygook, and I do not know why. I think that, because let's see what's on here now. Let's look at this. Because we're not going to do the PLC today, we'll do that separately. And hopefully I'll just need a normal code for that. But that, I believe, is that one. That is just normal text. So I don't know why that's not coming out. Let me try another text. That one there is called text. Maybe that's just... I don't know, that doesn't work. But then when I've used that one, which is called True Type Text, that has worked. You've also got one called Dynamic True Type. You've got a button, you've got a lamp there you can put on lock and all that. So I guess when you put that on there, if I click lamp, put it on there, because if you write, oh yeah, you've got your coil ID here, look, and all that. Anyway, that's software. That's not my bag right there. Right then, so that's took a fair amount of time, a couple of episodes you watch on YouTube to get that to work right, but it is working. So that's a fucking right bonus. The good news is, on this particular one, I can unplug it and I can use it right. Shall I try and connect to the PLC while I'm here? I don't think I'm going to, because I want to go through it with you, and I'm going to go home now. So I've gone through the whole process in the videos on YouTube of getting that software. I'm not going to go over the software. I'm hoping one of the ESK lads who's a bit more software based now wants to take the reins on that software while I continue with the hardware. But we shall see. Anyhow, the software, you can now get your 24 volt power supply, get your little cheap HMI, get your breakout board and your bit of cable, hopefully get a full functioning RS232 converter shit laptop, and now you can play with software. I'm not going to get the software and just go through using it, because I don't know how to use any HMI software. So I won't be very good at doing it, but that's there. I'm going to part the software now, I'm not doing it. Hardware wise, what we'll do next is, because I think people, I've worked on PLCs, but I've never connected them together like this before, because I've never had to integrate them. So I've gone through that from start to finish to get that downloading. What I think I'll do now is I'll move this to one side, bring the PLC over, and I'm going to do the same thing for the PLC, because obviously you need to know where to get that software from and how it works. So I'm going to do the same thing for the PLC in the next episode.
Hold up.
Because stuff's working now. Maybe even my wife share will work with the PLC, because maybe the PLC didn't need the RTS, so I'll try that in the next video. So yeah, thank you for watching this rambling of a madman as he tries to get a 50-year-old protocol to work. I'll see you on the next episode.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.